Okay, cool. I think I got the setup. So, yeah, let me start resume this. So, I just want to talk through what's going on in my life right now, and I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah, I think you guys can see it now, hopefully. Okay, good. Uh, cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to, I guess, have a video where I kind of talk through what I've been working on, and there's a couple of things I want to cover. And the reason I want to do it in this format is because as I'm talking, actually, I can get my thoughts out easier instead of writing it down. And as I'm talking, I'm actually using this app called Granola that's transcribing our call in real time. And later on, as soon as this call is done, it's just going to automatically um, organize all these notes into a format. So I've been using this for a lot of my interview calls, for example, and it kind of just automatically pops up um, whenever you start a video call, and it records your microphone channel and it records your computer's audio. So it has those two channels, and it assumes that your microphone is you, and then your computer audio is the person you're talking to. Obviously, it works better one-on-one, but I think if you talk to multiple people, at least the other channel still gets multiple people. But this comes from the transcript of our conversation, and they just kind of organize everything for you. So it's been a really, really good tool. Hold on. So it's been a really, really good tool to use, um, where it automatically transcribes all of your meetings online and it summarizes those notes and organizes it for you. And you can have different formats and templates too. So, for example, like people do recruiting calls, and so they have a recruiting template. Right now, this is sort of my daily dump, where I kind of just talk about everything I'm working on and everything that's on my mind, all the problems I'm facing. So maybe I'll have a different template for that. Then I'm gonna have, so I want to maybe write some blog posts out of this stuff. So maybe I have a blog post template, maybe like a to-do list template, where it kind of just tracks down everything that I'm trying to do, my to-do list. So yeah, this is Granola. I think it's a British startup. Um, and then the UI is really good. I think you get 25 free meetings when you first sign up, and then you have to pay after that. So I'm hooked. It's hard to live without now. That's Granola. Next thing I also want to cover is issued PR. So maybe I need to pull up a localhost version of this. This is an application where um, as soon as it's running, you should be able to upload, connect, oh, so you log in with your GitHub and you go to a repository that you're working on, and it'll list all the issues that you have outstanding, the GitHub issues. And this application is going to just create a button for you where you click it, and in the background, it's just going to automatically resolve the issue. And it's going to write the code that's going to resolve the issue and pull a pull request for you automatically and write out what it did. So that way, all you should have to do is just review the pull request before you merge your code into your main branch. I find that I'm using Cursor at the moment to do a lot of coding, and it's still a lot of back and forth between the chat. And actually, the agents right now are at a level where they can reason really, really well, and they should be able to solve the problems autonomously without having to go back and forth. And so one of the main issues that I'm facing right now is how do I give it the right context? How do I let it understand what the code base is like? Um, how do I let it find the right files within the code base? So right now I have multiple agents in the background that kind of coordinate with each other. The first one is a coordinator agent, and they first look at the code base and try to understand what's going on. And they also look at the GitHub issue that they're working on. And then they work together with the librarian agent. The librarian agent can pull up specific files from the code base and give it back to the agent, the coordinator agent. Then once the coordinator agent has a good understanding of what it needs to do, then it goes to the coder agent and it tells the coder agent exactly what to write. The reason I separate out the coder agent is because the writing out an updated file takes up a bit of bandwidth in its memory if you think about it. You don't want to give too many instructions. So if you separate out the instructions to different LLMs, then they perform better. So if you were to give one LLM, say, and tell them exactly what to do in a file, give them the file and say, I want you to name this variable this and put it on this line and make it do this, then the LLM is actually going to achieve that really well and very consistently. As opposed to if you were to combine the coordinator agent with coder agent, and you say, as a coordinator agent, I want you to do both tasks. I want you to think about the problem, understand the code base, and then I want you to write out the correct code. It's going to be less consistent. So separating out these tasks to different LLMs really helps. Right. So the coordinator agent then goes to the coder agent. The coder agent writes the files, and then the coordinator agent then saves those files back onto GitHub, and then it creates a pull request. Now, of course, you can also split out some more of these tasks from coordinator agent. It sounds like the coordinator agent has a lot of tasks. You still split out some more tasks, and maybe it might improve results there. So you just have to kind of play around to see what makes sense. So let me show you. I'm gonna run it right now. Um, Maybe let's just go back to main. Make sure I have all the packages. And so this is what it's going to look like. Oh, shucks. I wonder if my Vercel version works. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So I just built a simple landing page just for now, and hopefully you should be able to log in with GitHub. Okay, still some issues. But another issue that we're facing right now with hosting on Vercel is that actually this application requires that the agents have access to your local hard drive. And it's going to create a copy of your repository on your local hard drive so they can work with it. And if I'm hosting some Vercel, actually it's not going to have access to that instance memory. So I'm now in the process of uploading this to my own server. I already have I bought a domain name and I'm just setting up the NGINX reverse proxy to point to the server. I think it's already loaded onto the server. And I just have to get it to run. I think I faced a bug with um, maybe authentication or some sort. So I need to work through that. But once it's up, then hopefully I can get at least a few people to try it out themselves and maybe at least run one workflow. The idea is there's two ways I can sell this. One way is to sell it on a subscription basis where you pay per month to be able to use this, but you still upload your own API key. So you still have to pay for the generations yourself, but at least you get access to sort of the tooling here that makes it easier to do. Now, I'm going to start at $1 a month, and my thinking is that I don't know what the actual price is. So I'm going to just automatically increment the price per month by the Fibonacci sequence, which I think is sort of the right scaling. So as soon as one person buys the $1 a month package, then it's going to increase to $2 a month. I'm sorry, it's going to go to the next one is actually one again. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11. Fibonacci is where you take the latest number, you add the previous latest number together, and that gets you the next number. So the next one is $1. So I'll have two people buy for $1, and then the third person is gonna be $2 for them. And then the fourth person is going to be 2 plus 1 is $3, and so forth. And it's kind of just increase slightly exponentially. I'm just going to have one stock per price for now, and of course that means that if 10 people buy it, it actually gets very expensive very quickly. But I want it that way because I just want to start with a very, very small number of people, and I want to work together with them to make sure this works for them. And later on, I'm going to start giving more stock per price. That means so for each price point, then I'll give more stock. So maybe at the $5 a month range, then I'll give, five people can buy it at that price. And then once five people buy it, then when it goes up to the next price, then have another five stock. I'm also gonna have the price also just decrease um, automatically if no one buys in a certain time. So right now I have it kind of set at 72 hours. If no one buys in 72 hours, then the price will just drop down by one step again. That way, I think, there's some sort of market mechanism to determine how valuable this is. I don't know how valuable it is yet. So that's one way to price it is just to pay a subscription fee and then you use your own API key. But another way that I've been thinking about it, which I think is a little more aligned with the end goal, which is you just pay per generation. So however many issues you have, you just pay per issue that you generate the solution for, or you pay per PR that you pull merge the pull request to the main branch. That way, sort of our outcomes are more aligned with your outcomes, meaning you only pay for the value that it brings you. And you don't have to provide your own API key. So we'll pay for the generation, the token cost in the back. But you pay for the value that it brings you basically. And I sort of like this pricing a little bit better, especially for generative AI applications that use a lot of tokens. Um, and I think I like it better in general because it feels like it's more aligned with the value that it brings to a customer. But at the same time, I think customers, even myself, are hesitant with this pricing because um, it becomes unpredictable. It's hard to budget for. Um, it's hard to limit your costs. So you don't know if you're going to be spending $5 a month or $10,000 a month, depending on your issues. And I guess almost for each issue, you have to like budget or have some sort of discussion over is it worth it to pay the $10 for the generation. So I guess it's a bigger discussion and it's hard to plan for. Um, but there's a lot of things you can do with this. So for example, you can have multiple agents. Right now we only have three, but you can have a lot more attached on to the workflow. You can have an agent that automatically generates a test suite for the new additions. You can have an agent that reviews the README in the repository and sees if there's any updates that's needed with changes. You can have, I need to add in some more um, linting errors and build errors and runtime errors and feed that back into agents. And so they can make fixes along the way. Because I realize as developers, actually, that's also how we work too. We try something and we run it to see if we get any errors and we take that feedback. And LLMs actually should also work very similarly. So they should be able to receive back the feedback or any errors, see any errors that come up either in build time, runtime, or even compile time. Um, the long-term goal for this is, if this works well, then actually you should be able to solve all the world's GitHub issues in one go. Say, the workflow that we develop here or the LLMs that become very smart, actually they're able to solve all the issues. And actually you have no more GitHub issues. You get to GitHub issue inbox zero basically. And you can solve it as soon as they come in. And so that's sort of like a point of digital singularity is what I've been thinking about. And what happens when there's no more coding that needs to be done? It's kind of interesting. Another thing I want to add on here is to use the real-time API from OpenAI, where you can talk with their APIs, talk with their models. And when you talk with the models also have function calling, so they can run functions in the back while you're still talking to them. It'll be interesting if you could, maybe for example, if you're reviewing your website and you pull up the real-time API and you're kind of talking through the things that you see. And as you're talking, the LLM automatically creates those GitHub issues for you. This is very doable. I already have a demo that I built where we also have another real-time API. And as we talk, it automatically fills in a financial suitability form for you. So you just have to connect this. I'm not going to do it here because I think it's going to cut off my mic. But you connect with it and then you start talking. And as you're talking, it'll automatically fill in your assets, your income, and your expenses. Um, so it's actually really, really cool. Yeah, log in with GitHub. Well, I was setting up authentication over the last couple of days. Um, yeah, hopefully it makes things easier for people. Another agent that I'm trying to actually my next step right now is also to just develop an agent that uses vector embeddings with the code base itself and seeing how that improves or not improves the LLM's agents understanding of the code base. So I think I want the agent to just review the issue maybe try to reword the issue, try to understand what the user is trying to say, because oftentimes a lot of people they kind of write just kind of half-baked descriptions or titles in the GitHub issues, and so it's up to the reader to guess what they're trying to achieve. And the LLM should also look at the code base at the same time and get a better understanding of what the GitHub issue is trying to resolve. And then maybe we'll just write a very simple report as a comment under the issue, explaining what it understands from the issue, what parts of the code base is relevant, and its suggested solution. Maybe kind of those three things as a comment in the GitHub issue. And then we can see maybe it's reasoning from there. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to demo here. It's not working. I have to work out those bugs a little bit more. I also have some blog posts that I've been writing. Let's see, where do I write it? Maybe in ChatGPT. That I need to publish that I haven't published in a long time. Where I posted on X that I had a draft. I wonder where that draft is. I also um, save all my newsletters in Cursor. That way, whenever I write a new newsletter, Cursor, I can search through the code base and I can have an understanding of how I wrote my other previous blog posts very quickly. So it's sort of like my simple implementation of a RAG on my own work. Yeah, right. I have this blog post draft about generalized models versus specialized agents. I need to publish this. So this is something I need to do. It looks like it's done in ChatGPT, but I can't find it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I found it. There's a way to start this. Yeah, I'll just share the link. Copy the link. And I'll put it in my Granola notes. What else? Job hunt. I've been getting a lot of calls from recruiters, and a lot of them are thanks to Patrick as well, who's been forwarding me all his recruiters to me. And I've been having quite a few interviews with a lot of startups, and they're all looking for LLM engineers or AI engineers to help implement more LLM agents. And I think it's a really hot thing this year. Um, I've been sort of failing at, not failing, but I need to perform better in the technical interviews. So I think they really expect a high bar. I think there's a lot of people that practice these technical interview questions. They go on stuff like Leet Code, and I think there's another one called Neat Code, NEETCODE, where you can practice these algorithms or these programming questions. So I was working on one yesterday. Yesterday's problem was you're given a grid of ones and zeros, and you need to try to identify all the number of islands that are in this grid. So you have to somehow define what an island is and somehow count. And you can't just do it with crappy code. You have to also think about big O notation, meaning how computationally expensive is your algorithm, and can you make it more efficient? So I need to finish that when I have a new idea for how to do it. So I'm gonna try it again today. Today I also want to try to set up my code on my server, sorry, my issue to PR application on my server so that someone else can use it. And then I have some outstanding blog posts one that I found on ChatGPT that I want to publish. I also want to write another blog post on Granola because I think it's helpful to other people. I think it's a really good tool, and I've been telling a lot of people about it, so I just want to write a simple blog post about it. And then I also had this session with my sister Yenming where we went over the financial suitability form and we were recording our discussion and went into a larger discussion about AI and tools that are helpful to people that are not in the AI space. So I thought it was a very cool session, and it was probably about 40 minutes long, the recording. But I think there's a lot of cool insights in there that maybe I want to try to extract out with transcripts and write a blog post from, or maybe draw some clips out of them. And I want to find a way to publish them where I can use it as an information asset to help my branding. Um, so I'm trying to build my sort of knowledge base that I can share with other people. Yeah, anything else I want to cover? So we talk about kind of everything up here. I think, yeah, we'll stop there. It's already too long as it is, but let's see the transcript comes up with anything interesting. Cool. Thanks.